Hello, my name is Chelsea Chaffee, and I'm from the Women in Technology Education team. Today I'll be showing you how to make a simple chatbot from scratch using the Watson Assistant IBM service. So, what we'll be doing as an example is creating a hoodie assistant for the Women in Tech 2021 hoodie collection. What our bot will do is greet the customer, describe what kinds of hoodies are on offer. It'll let you order a hoodie by specifying the color and the size. It will ask you if you want embroidery, and then it'll confirm the details and ask you whether or not you want to order or give you an option to change the details by ordering again. So, the first thing you'll need to do is to create an IBM Cloud account, which is free. Once you've logged in, you'll get to the IBM Cloud dashboard. If you click the button on the top left, you'll be able to scroll down and find the Watson link, which I've pinned so it's at the top. Once you click that, you'll be redirected to this page. Scroll down a bit and you'll find the Watson Assistant, which you should be able to open. Yep, it will load up. Should only take a few seconds. Yep, so you'll want to create a new assistant. We'll name the assistant WIT Chatbot Assistant. Create it, and the first decision we'll have to make is whether we want to create an action or a dialogue skill. So a skill is basically where all the information about how a conversation flow happens works. You can use skills across different assistants. An action skill tends to be more straightforward to learn, especially for non-coders, but we'll choose a dialogue skill because it's a little bit more interesting. So you'll create a new skill. I'll call it the hoodie chatbot, and you can add a description if you want. Language, we'll make it a dialogue skill. Alright, so it's created this skill. You got to click on it to edit it. And yep, so what you have is a screen which shows you everything inside this skill. You've got intents, which basically describes what the user wants from your program. You have entities, which basically describe more complex kind of variables that can store particular types of information. And you got the dialogue, which is where the actual flow or conversation happens, and you can control what it does. So currently, if you try out the program, this is just with the default settings. It'll say, hello, how can I help you? That's a greeting. If I type in hi, I haven't actually implemented anything, so it'll just say that it doesn't understand what I'm saying. Yeah, so first thing you want to do is add an intent. So having a look at our plan, something that the user might want is to learn about hoodies. So we'll create an intent called inquire about hoodies. Does it really matter what it's called? You should just name it something that makes sense to you. Alright, so now we've got to add some examples of user input that the user might type. They might say, what kinds of hoodies are on offer? Can add that example. What color hoodies are there? How many sizes of hoodies are there? Can I get custom embroidery? So the idea is you can keep adding kind of triggers that might cause your program to recognize that the user is intending to inquire about hoodies. And what Watson will do is, using their AI technology, they'll try and match bits of user input to these examples and then trigger this intent or recognize this intent. So generally, the more specific examples you give, the better your assistant will be at recognizing what your user wants. Alright, so then now that we've made some, we'll go back. What other intents do we have? The user might want to order a hoodie. So let's create another intent. Order hoodie. Create an intent. It's probably better to add a description of what you mean by that intent, but that's just for your own reference. I want to order a hoodie. Might be an example. What other examples might be? Purchase my hoodie. Let me order a hoodie. Can I buy my hoodie? Yes, and so on. Another two important intents that we use a lot are yes and no. So we should probably make an intent to represent those. Make a yes intent. As an example, user wants to confirm. Create intent. You might just type yes, yeah, sure, correct. And of course, you can always go back to your intents anytime and add more synonyms that you think are appropriate. Create intent. Alright, so those are our intents. Next thing we might want to do is add an entity. So you can think of it as information, specific types of information your program, your assistant might want to recognize. So in particular, we have color. Our hoodie only comes in certain colors, so that's quite important. And we also have size. So let's create entities for both of those things. Color. Alright, so we have value and synonym. So one type of color that we offer is cherry red. Synonyms for that might be red, cherry red, dark red, wine red, etc. Yep, and then we can add that value and it appears here. You can do the same for every other color that is offered in our hoodie collection. Blue and light blue will probably do. We also offer sand, beige, yellow, pale, white will probably do. You got to be, I guess, sensible about what kinds of words you accept. Like, for example, you might not necessarily want to accept white as a synonym for sand, depending on what exact use case you want. Should be saved? I should hope. Oh no, is it going to save it? Well, hopefully it'll let me keep adding. Sand, cherry blue, cherry red, light blue. The last color was black. Black. Dark grey. Alright, let's just double check. Yep, that's saved correctly. We'll create another entity called size. So the sizes we offer are extra small. Should probably add a synonym there. Extra small. Let's also offer small. Small. We also offer medium. You shouldn't have to worry too much about case. large and extra large. Alright, for consistency, I'll just add L over here and XS over here. Yep, so we have our entities. Now we're on to the dialogue, which is the most exciting part because we actually get to change what happens as we talk to our assistant. So the welcome node is a special node. It's basically what the assistant says every time you open the assistant for the first time. So rather than hello, how can I help you? Let's change it to a more interesting message, which I've just pre-written. Yeah, welcome to our online hoodie ordering system. Very nice. The other thing we can do is add additional types of responses. So I'm going to add an image, and we'll use this as the image source. It's just an image that I got from online, and we can move this image up to the top so that it displays before it displays the text. So now, if we try it and we can clear it, it will greet us with the new message, the image, whose URL that I inputted, and the message that we just added. Yeah, so we might want to add a new node. So let's talk about hoodies if a user inquires. So information about hoodies. Yeah, you might want to make the node name useful because the customers might see the node name for disambiguation, which means that if they get stuck, although you can always toggle that option off if you want to. Alright, so we want if the assistant recognizes that the user is inquiring about hoodies, they will display this particular response. So the response I want to display is this little paragraph here, which describes information about our hoodie collection this year. And I want to mention what colors we have, what sizes we have, and that we have an optional custom phrase, just so that the user knows what options they have, as well as the cost, which is quite important, you'd imagine. Alright, and I also want to add an image. Same as before, we add a new response called image, and I'll copy in this particular URL, which I believe is the hoodie collection banner. And I'll move that one up so it's displayed before the text. Now, when we try it out, might as well clear it. Then if I type what kinds of hoodies are there, it'll give us exactly what we just inputted. So as we can see, it's our question has triggered the inquire about hoodies intent, and that has triggered this node to be displayed. Very nice. And now onto the most exciting part, or the most complex part rather, which is actually ordering a hoodie. So we want to make a new node for that as well. You probably want to move it down below node, because I believe that the assistant will actually check all of these sequentially. So it'll check if the inquire about hoodies intent is triggered before the order hoodie intent is triggered. So as a general rule, you might want to put intents that are a bit more obscure at the top so that the more popular intents aren't accidentally triggered Yes, but it will definitely a bit of testing will help you determine the optimum order if it matters at all in your particular case. So let's order your hoodie. Yes, so this node is quite complex. We want to find out how to ask for the color and the size. Of course, we could probably use multiple nodes to do that, but we're going to take advantage of a particular feature Watson Assistant has, which is called slots. So if we go customize, we can toggle on, the slots, the slot setting, and just apply it. This means that we can check for certain types of information and save it as a variable, and then if it's not present, we can ask for that information. So that means that if I typed order red small hoodie, this node will automatically recognize those colors and sizes and save it, but if it's not present, it'll ask for the color and size specifically. So let us check for color first, because people like to order color first. Let's save. Yeah, something important to mention is that you can have things called environmental variables in your assistant. They're like short-term variables that you can store information about the current session in them. So when we check for color, if the assistant finds the color in the message, it'll save it in the variable color, $sign color, dollar symbol color, so then we can use it later. So if it's not present, let's ask, what color hoodie would you like? Thank you, Google. We offer cherry red, black, light blue, and sand. So if I know what options they have. Yep, and it's required. We don't want to skip this particular slot. We also want to check for size. Save it as size. Let's say, what size hoodie would you like? We offer XS, S, medium, large, and extra large. Alright, and then once the assistant has gathered all this information, we can respond with text. So might respond with something that confirms the information you just inputted, so I can write, so you would like a color hoodie of size. Now what I've done here is that the $sign in text in Watson Assistant has a special meaning. It means that whatever word comes afterwards is actually the name of a variable, not plain text. So since the assistant has stored your color and size in color and size, I can then call it up in this response. So let's actually try it out. Try it. Alright, let's say order a hoodie. What color hoodie would I like? I would like black. What size? L. So you'd like a black hoodie of size L. Yep, so we got our assistant successfully recognizing and storing information about our hoodie. And if you go manage context, you can actually see everything, all the context variables that you currently have in your session, which is really good for debugging and working out what's happening. Yep, very nice. And something else that's really good about this style is I can type order red small hoodie, and it will automatically recognize the color red and the size S. So it'll skip the questions and it will just say, yeah, you would like a cherry red hoodie or size S, which is a very nice feature. It's a good reason to use slots. Awesome. So the next thing you want to do is ask if the user wants embroidery. So to do that, we only want the user to get this question if they're ordering a hoodie, so we'll add a child node underneath. So let's call this node ask for embroidery. So it's not really a node that you'd want customers to see, so I'll just turn off the disambiguation. We don't need the condition because we want it to be triggered every time, so I'll just put true. And I don't want the assistant to wait for a reply because I don't really need the reply, so I'm just going to put down skip user input. So it'll just go straight into this node here, and I'll type, would you like custom embroidery, I can spell, on your hoodie? Alright, as simple as that. And then we need to kind of recognize whether or not the user says yes or no. So let's add another child node. Let's start with a case where the user says no, because then we can go straight to confirming the details. Let's call it confirm your order, since that's what the node actually does. Let's recognize no, the user doesn't want custom embroidery. So the assistant will say, just to confirm, you would like to purchase a hoodie of color and size. And something else that you might want to implement is you might want to write out what price this hoodie is going to be. So we sold our hoodies this year for $40 without embroidery, but $45 with embroidery. Because this variable is probably going to change, let's actually make a variable to store that in. So if we want to create a variable, you can actually do that by opening the context editor. Let's create a variable storing the price inside order your hoodie. Open context editor. So this lets you create a variable for whatever name you want to whatever value you want. So let's set the price to $40. So when we confirm our order, we'll write, this will cost you price. But price by itself, yeah, I suppose we could make it simpler just by putting the $sign inside price. You can think of it as a string. Yeah, this will cost you $40 in this case. Alright, and then we want to actually recognize the yes or the no. So let us add yet again more child nodes. Order confirmed. If the assistant recognizes yes, they'll respond with, say, excellent. I have ordered your hoodie for you. You will receive an email with further details, which we will of course not implement. Alright, and once this node has finished, we might want to jump out of this tree over here, and we'll jump right back to the start. Wait for user input. Yeah, there we go. And we got to handle the no case as well. Add another child node. No. Order cancelled. If the assistant recognizes no, they respond with alright, would you like to enter the, would you like to re-enter your hoodie details? Since we provided that option here, and we will yet again have to add more child nodes if the assistant recognizes yes. We will simply jump all the way back to order your hoodie. Would you please enter the details again? Rather than waiting for a reply, we will jump to order your hoodie. Respond. Yep, so we use a lot of like jump statements. If you're familiar with coding, we use these jumps to kind of mimic a very simple go-to statement, or in other words, to create a loop. Since it's a tree structure, we need to jump between different nodes to let the user move between different areas of your dialog. And yeah, we got to create a child node for the node case. If the assistant recognizes no, guess I don't need that name there. I'll recognize that's okay. Feel free to ask us about any questions about the hoodies. And we'll just jump back to the start, just like in the first case. Alright, let's actually try this out. Let's say order a small hoodie for variation. So we haven't entered the color, so it'll prompt us for color. And it's already recognized that we wanted to order a small hoodie, which is why we didn't actually prompt us for that size. So it'll say, would you like custom embroidery? Let's type no, because we haven't implemented custom embroidery yet. Oh no, it looks like the price did not work. Let's debug that very soon. But just to confirm, you would like to purchase a hoodie of color sand and size S. Let's type no. Alright, would you like to re-enter your hoodie details? Yes. So you'd like a sand hoodie of size S. So what's happened here in particular is that it's remembered the context variables from before instead of letting us re-input it. So that's because the context variables are still stored. That's something you got to be wary of. We can fix that by manually resetting or clearing the values at the point at which we cancel the order. So we got the variable size. To clear a variable in Watson, we got to set the value to null. The same with color, set it to null. You got price as well, which you got to fix. We'll also set that to null. Yep, very nice. And we should do the same with yes, because if the user goes back and just orders a new hoodie, we're going to run into the same issue. Size, set that to null. Color, set that to null. Price, set that to null as well. Alright, that should help. Let's have a look at what happened with price. It seems like we've set the context variable price, but it's equal to null at this point in time, which is interesting. You can potentially, it could be to do with slots, so let's just try setting the context in a different node. Let's set the context here at the point at which we asked for the embroidery. Price, let's set that to $40. And we'll run this again and double check that it works out. Yep, let's run this. Clear, let's order a blue extra small hoodie. I like custom embroidery, no. Oh, the price is still not quite working. Would you like to order a hoodie? Let's say we reject it, but we want to re-enter the details. Yep, so at least this part's working correctly. We order, it prompts us to ask us what color we want. Let's order black and extra large this time. I do not want custom embroidery. Yes, I would like to purchase this hoodie. And yes, I can receive an email. Yep, and at this point, because it's returned to the top, I should be able to say what kinds of hoodies. And it will once again let me inquire about the hoodies. With price, I can't see any particular reason for it not to be working correctly. Ah, I see. The issue, what actually happened is that we made the value $40, but $ has special meaning. It means variable. Even if we write $ as a value, it will look for a variable called 40. And then, since there is no variable called 40, it will assign null to price. So we'll actually use a backslash here. Ooh. Backslash 40. That should hopefully work out. I have a feeling there should only be one backslash, but let's try with two. It's a bit of guess and check with this kind of thing. Let's clear that. No. Yep, so it's working correctly now. So that's always something to keep in mind. Making sure that if you have $ that you want to actually display as $, they need to be escaped with this slash symbol, which will actually read it as a $ instead of as a variable. Yep, so that's the main flow of our hoodie assistant that we designed. Now, I guess a special touch is to input embroidery and to confirm that phrase. So let's fill that in. We want to offer an option for yes when we ask for embroidery. Let's add a child node called enter embroidery, I suppose. If it recognizes the yes intent, we will type please enter up to 20 characters to be printed on the front of your hoodie. Alright, let's actually move this up above node. And let's add a child node which will actually read the information that the user has inputted. Right, read phrase. We don't really want to show this node name. Let's read the phrase, I suppose. So this is a bit more complex because we're reading input directly. We want to read phrase, and there's something special we can use, which is this over here. So what this means, it's a SPEL, I believe, structure. So you've got the input.text.extract, which is just a function they've inbuilt to read the input. And this in here is a regex or regular expression. You can research this more if you like. I recommend the regex website if you want to play with regular expressions. But essentially what it does is it will accept between 1 and 20 of any character. The dot just means any character. So that will essentially read up to 20 characters of the user's input. Alright, so we want to confirm whether or not that's what they want on their hoodie. So let's type to confirm you want to have the custom phrase embroidered on your hoodie. And while we're here, we might as well set another context variable. We want to overwrite price with the correct price, which is $40. $45, sorry. A hoodie with custom embroidery costs $45. Very nice. And we've got to accept the user's input as yes or no. So if it's yes, the system recognizes yes, we'll respond with, you don't really need a response. We'll just, I guess we could write excellent. Your hoodie will now cost $45. Oh, here when it says enter response variation, you can enter multiple versions of your text, and the assistant will use different versions of your text when the user inputs asks or reaches this node at different points in time. It's just to make the conversation seem a bit more, I guess, genuine on the spot. You can also write, great, this will cost you an extra $5, and then it will just randomly choose one of these two responses. You can enter as many variations as you like. And once we've done that, we want to jump straight to confirm your order. So let's, instead of waiting for a reply, let's jump to confirm your order and respond because we want it to print. Yep, and we got to handle the no case. Recognizes. We want to recognize no. Don't need that. And in the no case, this will write I understand, just to indicate that. And we'll just jump straight back to ask for embroidery. So then it can ask whether or not you actually want embroidery again. Respond, which is very much what our diagram that the basing it off has done. And that should hopefully work out, so let us try it out. Alright, let's order a sand extra large hoodie. Do I like custom embroidery? Yes. Enter up to 20 characters. Let's see what happens if I enter more than 20 characters. enter in some random numbers. Oh no, it didn't quite understand at all. I see. So the read phrase has not worked as we expected. You've got enter characters. Wait for reply. The thing we should enter here is true, just to make sure that this node here will always run no matter what. Let's try it again. Medium hoodie. Yep, so our regex expression has worked as expected. It's only printed the first 20, well, stored the first 20 characters, even though I've typed more. So no, that's not what I want in my hoodie. So would I want custom embroidery? Yes, I still want it. Let's print something shorter. I want forest embroidered on my hoodie, sure. And now my hoodie will cost $45. So just to confirm, I'd like to purchase this hoodie. This will cost you $45. Yes, I do. Excellent. So it's working just as expected. A final kind of touch we can add is at this point where we confirm our hoodie, we could potentially add extra text that will, if the user has entered a custom phrase, it'll print the custom phrase here, but only in that case. How to do that? Confirm your order. So you'll have to go to customize once again. Multiple conditioned responses. You'll need to toggle this on and apply it. Yep. So we can check whether or not the assistant recognizes the entity, not the entity, the context variable phrase. Like if it's equal to anything other than null, then we will print let's actually read that whole thing. Just to confirm, you'd like to purchase a hoodie with custom embroidery phrase. Yep, very nice. And this will cost you price. Yep, so this will only run if there's a phrase being inputted. Otherwise, we will respond with just the regular response, which does not include the custom phrase because there was no custom phrase. There you go. Let's check that that works. Try it out. Let's start with order a dark grey small hoodie. Let's say yes, I do want custom embroidery. Charcoal. Yes, I do. Just to confirm, with custom embroidery charcoal, this will cost you $45. Let's say that. No, I don't. Yes. As a matter of fact, there's something else important that we haven't done yet. We need to reset the context variable phrase, as well as every other variable. Otherwise, when we reorder another hoodie, it's gonna keep the phrase from last time, and we don't want that. Yes, there you go. So it should work out now. Let's test it pretty thoroughly. Let's order a blue hoodie, size L. I like custom embroidery. Let's type yes. Let's say I don't want that phrase, so I'll type no. I still want embroidery. Let's change the phrase to hello world. Yes, I do want that. Just to confirm, I would like that hoodie. Let's say no, I don't. I made a mistake. Let's read into some details. I would like red this time. Medium. No, I don't want custom embroidery. And yet we can see that it's got the correct prompt. Yes, I would like to purchase that. Yep, and I can always re-inquire that as well. There we go, and that's a fully functioning implementation of our plan over here. Yep, so in conclusion, we've finished making our simple chat box. You can see it gets quite long, but it also offers quite a bit of nice flexibility, and yeah, I'd encourage you all to create your own system as well and to play around with it a bit, because that's the most enjoyable part about learning new skills. And there's also quite a bit of good documentation on the IBM website if you ever get stuck. So yeah, lots of support out there. So in conclusion, I hope you enjoyed this video and that was a bit useful and it was a bit long. Yeah, and hopefully you've all learnt something today and can use it in the future. Thank you.